On here. Let's see. What's crappening? All right. Actually, I got to run into the house.
What review thing? On our race? Yeah. Oh shit. Yeah. Oh, did he call you yet? Let's see. Might have to put on the hoodie. It's getting a little chilly out. Let's start by cleaning up this mess a little bit. Got done pretty late last night, so I left kind of a aftermath. I got something planned for tonight. Something pretty fun for us. Yeah. My wife keeps throwing the trash bags out here. I don't know why. Get that crap out of the way. Hello, everybody. Just tidying up for a second. I got done late last night, so this place is a mess. Not a big fan of a messy shop. Plus, if you don't clean up, you can't find anything. Because I'm notorious for when I'm working on a project, I just keep getting stuff out and setting it down. And then by the end of the project, I can't find a tape measure. All right. We're going to need these clamps, so I'm not putting them up. Here's my bandsaw. This thing is ancient. Pretty sure that if I could like go back and check the ownership history of this thing, like Teddy Roosevelt probably used it. All right, I'll clean up over here. Try to hide some of my filming equipment here. Put my mic up. some wood stock from the project, so we might come back and use these here in a little bit. I don't know why, but I always make these feather board, fingerboard things live on the bandsaw. They're just it's out of the way. Glue rags has been sitting around for 24 hours. I had to bring a hoodie out tonight. The temperature's dropping pretty fast. Actually, let's clean off the table saw. These are the two panels I don't have glued up yet. Here's the panel we glued up last night. All right. What's the plan? I think the first thing we're going to do is get that out of the clamps and get another board into the clamps. Fire up the router table. We'll see why. All right. It's pretty clean. Clean enough. Actually, no, we're not done. Let's go ahead and clean off the router table. We got the couch prototype. Project in progress. It's going to be cool to finish. Put this up here. We're going to need these here in a minute. All right. I think we've cleaned up pretty good for now. Let's get started. Shall we? Well, hello, Black Lake Studio from Alaska. Did you say you're the best potato farmer? Just getting started here. Let's tidying up the mess from yesterday. I'm hoping to get some work done tonight, so might have to take a potty break, grab another drink. Been a long week. Been a crappy week, man. All right, so we're gonna get this out of the clamps and put another panel into clamps. Then whip out the old crappy router table. Actually, right now is one of those times when I wish I had a palm router. About to set up a router table for just a haircut. Yeah, man. Welcome to my shop. Let's see, what time is it in Alaska? It's 7:45 here, so what is it, like 4:45 there? What are you, 3-4 hours behind me? All right, we got 2 down. Let's put another one in the clamps. Oh, you're 4 hours behind me. Holy cow. That's what I think that's the same time zone as California. Which is why the NBA and NFL games are on so late when it's the late game. Oh, they're only 3 hours behind me. You're 4. All right, I'm gonna grab a paper towel. I'll be right back. We'll start gluing this together. Get these out of the way. It's appropriate that Alaska has its own time zone. Get some of this. I glued together that last panel this morning before I went to work. So the brush is still usable, but it was a little gunked up. It's real gunked up. It's usable. Let's do this. The panels, I actually stole this idea from a guy I work with. He does woodworking too. I had some writer's block, so I asked him for an idea. And he came up with an idea to make like a planter box. Something you put plants in outside, but have a hidden storage compartment for like a cooler. That way, if you're out on your front porch smoking a cigar, doing whatever you're doing, you don't have to go back in for a drink. You can just open up your planter box, pull out your cooler. And I didn't use plans. I was looking at coolers, like the little cheapo Igloo coolers, and got the dimensions and decided to make like, this is about 15 by 15 inch panels. I'm making two, but I'm only live streaming one. I'm going to use the second one for a long form video. But I got something. I mean, I don't want to say exciting, but something planned for tonight. I'm going to whip out a tool I've only used once. We'll see how it goes. I've had this tool for so far. All I've used was dowels. I'm a big believer in dowels. They're basically mini dominoes. But I bought a biscuit joiner off a guy on Facebook Marketplace a couple years ago. I think he sold it to me for like $80. He was done woodworking. And I used it one time. I'm just convinced dowels are stronger. But I'm tired of not using that biscuit joiner. And I'm not going to make another dowel jig. So we'll see how this goes. It's like I'm not a carpenter. I don't do this for a living. So like kind of what I started live streaming this because it's like, let's watch and see what this idiot's going to do next. I put way too much glue on this thing. I actually milled these not the panels. I milled the boards for the frames up. I milled them on Sunday. No, I think I milled them on Saturday and glued them up on Sunday. So now these panels are, they basically are shaped like Pringles, like potato chips. So I might be overdoing it with the glue a little bit. But it's hard to tell, but they wobble. They're not flat anymore. So I got to glue, like force them to be flat on the panel with clamps. I don't know why I didn't do like a framing panel instead of making a faux frame. Probably for the depth. Let's see. Do you ever do the, you ever see guys pour salt on the glue before they clamp it together? They say it kind of helps it keep from slipping. I've never tried it. mean, I could see it working, but see, it's already slipped on me. Still slipping. I've never tried it either. You know what? Maybe we'll do that we'll try it out on the last panel. Because this is the 3rd out of 4th. 3 out of 4. I mean, it kind of makes sense because, you know, the wood or the glue would probably dissolve the salt over time. I just wondered if they're using like coarse salt or just normal iodized table salt. And slippage. Let's do our best to. Okay, now we got a problem. This is not lining up right. All right. This is what we'll do. We'll stand it up like this. And then try to dial it in over here. There we go. What you got there? I feel like you're giving me advice. Let's see what you got. it also kind of seems to be a European thing too. So how far north are you? What's that one town that was in 30 Days a Night? Barlow? You would, man, I don't think I could handle like the sun being up for days and days. Nice. Clamp slipping. Plus, I think on the other planer that I'm going to do for the long form video, instead of trying to cut the frame specifically to the size of the plywood, I'm going to leave it slightly oversized. That way I can just route it flush instead of trying to line it up like this. This was a mistake. All right. That one's looking all right. Hmm. Yeah, I originally yesterday I knew today I wanted to at least try to get the legs assembled or at least attached to a couple of the panels. And I said at the end of the live stream last night, I was like, I'm gonna get up before work and glue a second panel together. And then I woke up this morning and was like, I'm not gluing one together. But I did, I got it done. So we've got two panels to work with. I ran out of little clamps, so now we're down to 3-footers. Yeah, that's my next step. We're going to set up the router table for the 2 dry panels. I don't have a little palm router. I need to get one. think I'm going to try to throw one more on right here. There's a little... I don't think we'd see daylight through it, but... There we go. Let's clean up some glue. What kind of woodworking do you do? Got to keep walking around my table saw because I got the 3-foot clamps on there. I'm going to clean this up and then we'll get to work. This box is going to be outside by my front door. So I'm not going to get real anal about the glue cleanup. Normally I'd go through, if this is something that was just going to get like a hard wax on it, I would, use a towel with water, really clean up the glue. But I'm going to cover this thing, like completely encase it in outdoor latex paint. Or if my wife doesn't like it, probably just sell it. Now it weighs like 40 pounds with all the clamps on it. How long ago is back in the day? I love woodworking and making stuff, but I think I moved too slow to do this as a carpenter, like professionally as a living. I'm sure you get faster the more you do it. But actually, the guy that I stole this idea from that I work with, he did carpentry, I think, as like a first job. So he started young as an apprentice. And he did it for 6 or 7 years, and then he found our line of work, which is pretty lucrative. It's hard to leave. He said he told me, all right, you're a carpenter. He said he could build, one of his goals this summer is to build a greenhouse. He's got a bunch of random windows. And he said if he told his wife, if I've got 3 days uninterrupted, I could build an entire greenhouse. And I'm like, that would take me a month. But I could be wrong. He did say he had all the like framing guns, all the nail guns. I mean, I believe him. That's just crazy. 3 days, basically 24 hours. All right, let's go grab the other panels while this thing dries. Actually, that panel's in the way. I'm going to put the router table there. We're going to have to move that. How'd you make that transition? That's wild, man. I could see how up in Alaska, though, it's not like people need stuff built all the time up there. I'm afraid of heights. I couldn't do that. Actually, I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling. I'll try to put this over here on the floor. Woo! Now, this is a terrible angle. And I hate this part of my shop. I'm going to revamp this summer. Man, I want to get a wood lathe. It's really hard to film working at the router table. I have not figured out how to do it yet. There's no good angle. You either see the work Or you're looking at my back. I'm gonna grab my router bit. He's way over here. Were you a union carpenter? Nope. It's already maxed out. I gotta go one lower. Raise it. Get that out of the way. There we go. It's a good angle. I'm just flush cutting it. There we go. Keep raising this bit. Right on. Oh, nice. I bet it's a complete pain in the butt to learn. Are you talking about like a big plywood sheet cut one or just a little one? Because I've kind of been eyeballing some little ones. Excuse me for 1 second. I gotta go take a break real quick. I'll be right back. 2 minutes. Ah, crap. I just realized I had been opining for that long and I had it muted. It's got to be in the sound now. It's Friday. It's been a long week. Yep, we got it. I was just opining about ideas for using the CNC. I was saying I could see using it for like patterns or complex curves, or also like engraving. A buddy of mine has a really old piece of oak. And I thought, man, it'd be really sweet to, if you had a CNC, engrave like the Declaration of Independence into the oak. Because I think he said it's like 280-year-old tree. Or just do some artwork and have George Washington write an eagle. Let me grab the legs. Oh crap, we got to cut these to size first. Can't really cut them after I attach them. One of these has a defect in it. Yeah, it's Friday. But that's got a big defect in it too. So we got two boards we gotta clean up. Have you got it functioning yet? All right, these two are good. These two have defects. Let's head over to the miter saw and clean one end up and cut them to size. I got to be careful. I have the TV on behind me. I can't let you guys see the TV at YouTube. Let's see. Yes, it is Poplar. I'm a big fan of Poplar. It's cheap. It's hard. Takes paint well. Lacquer. I don't know what's considered domestic and what's considered exotic up in Alaska. These are the good ones. I'm going to cut the box is 15 inches, so I'm going to cut the legs like 2 inches longer, and probably add some of those feet, adjustable feet at the bottom, just to keep it, from soaking up water. Just from sitting on water. But I don't know if I can cut out that defect. Might be able to. Oh, yeah. Sweet. Get out my old stop block. All this crap. Yeah. Besides I've birch plywood, but I've never worked with just straight birch. Is it an exceptionally hard Janko hardness kind of wood? I think I'm going to turn on the air filter because I'm starting to choke. There's not much tear out. I'm just breaking it off so it doesn't get, compromised by the stop block, the size. Pencil. Come on. Double check it. I think another reason I couldn't actually be a carpenter is I'm not mobile. I got to be on my home court. I would be the carpenter that shows up to the job site and be like, oh man, I forgot my drill. I got to drive back. I would turn on my dust collector, but it's kind of, it works for the miter saw, but it's the benefits are marginal. Oh, hey, Barry. Welcome back, man. You doing all right? So you end up getting the same storms we had a day later. Today, it was windy. Like 50-mile-an-hour wind gusts. All right, let's figure out how to use a biscuit joiner. I used it one time. Turn that off. Dun dun dun. When I bought this from the guy on Facebook, this little dust collector nozzle adapter thingy was broke, and I wound up finding an aftermarket place online for Dewalt tools. Forget what it's called, but I think I got it for like $8. Actually, I'm not going to attach this until that one's in there pretty good. All right. So I think if I recall, when I used this for the first time, I used I used it on 3/4 inch plywood. And what we have here today is 1/2 inch plywood. And I mean, theoretically, I could hit anywhere in there. Is there a depth? No, this is the angle gauge. Where's the depth? There it is. All right. I'm going to grab some 1/2 inch stock. The Harbor Freight El Cheapo biscuit joiner. Harbor Freight's great, man. My air compressor down here is a Central Pneumatic, or what do they call it? Yeah. Got that thing pretty cheap. It's lasted 10, 15 years. Yeah, probably 12 years. And I do no maintenance to it. I just wouldn't get underneath a car with Harbor Freight jack stands, I think. I'd be a little sketched out. I'm sure they function perfectly fine, in my opinion. I don't know. How the hell do I adjust the depth? That's as low as I could get that to go. It's not quite halfway through that 1/2 inch board. Ah. Bye, Black Lake. Thanks for stopping by. Hello there, Ricky. That's as shallow as I can make that. It's not quite centered, but we're going to test it out, see if it works. Grab some of these dominoes that have been collecting dust. It's probably the big ones. And a clamp. I don't have any clamps. I have clamps. They're giant clamps, but they're clamps. How you guys doing on this fine Friday evening? I know Barry's retired. What about you, Ricky? Actually, let's put these over here. Cut one, flip to the other side. That would be best in theory if I was joining, I think, two pieces that were the same thickness. But in this case, I'm going to joint our legs. So unfortunately, I think I have to keep the distance index to the same side the whole time. It's my thought, at least. But I'm an idiot. I don't know anything. All right. That's not moving. That's there. Oh yeah, there's a way to adjust. There's a way to adjust which one. I think that's the biggest one. I think if you switch it, it gets smaller. Yeah, it probably says on there, doesn't it? Size 20. All right, we'll set it to 20 and see if that works. Hi, Peter. What's going on, man? We're going to try this one with no dust collection. Hopefully I don't just go right into my bench. All right, not going to lie, that is really convenient. That's a lot faster than making a dowel jig. That's not the size 20, though. That thing's full of crap. I think that was the biggest one. All right, not going to lie. I kind of regret that I've left the biscuit joiner in the cabinet for a year and a half. Now, so that is pretty sweet. It's pretty convenient. I can't believe I haven't used this that much. And it might even provide a little wiggle room in case something, the marks don't line up. But, so our new dilemma is, this board's like 1.25 inches. That's 1 inch. So I got to figure out some way to line them up and mark a line across for the biscuit joiner. All right. Give me one moment. I originally wanted 1/2-inch plywood, 1/2-inch frame, 1.25-inch leg. That way it was 1.5-inch leg. That way it was a kind of a symmetrical difference. But unfortunately, the poplar I had left didn't allow me to do that. I think we can probably just use 1/2-inch plywood to make the difference, and then this is a crap way to do this, though. I don't know if I trust this. So what I was saying earlier was I've had this thing for almost 2 years, and I've used it one time until just now. But I think it might have been because I underappreciated the strength of a biscuit. I always thought like a solid oak dowel would be stronger, or a domino, but I'm not buying a domino, at least not now. I always thought oak dowels would be stronger. But after doing that, I got that for like $80 off Facebook. So at $80, it's at least worth trying. This is going to be a test because this is an outside project. So I'm going to say, I'm going to withhold judgment. I'm going to use biscuits the rest of the way. And if this project doesn't fall apart out in the elements, yeah, go get a biscuit joiner. I'm just kind of skeptical of the strength. And what are these things made out of? What is that? Does it say? For use with all plate joiners, plate joining biscuits. I mean, it doesn't tell you what kind of wood it is. I don't even know if it's solid wood. I mean, I couldn't snap a dowel like that. But we're going to use them. This will be the test. I just got to figure out a way to... Actually, I've got some shims. We can use some shims to elevate the leg. Let's move that over here. I don't know how much is a wireless. How much is a wireless biscuit joiner? How much is a wireless biscuit joiner? Cordless. Jesus. There we go. I mean, at $80, a corded one is great. I'm not going to say great. I'm withholding judgment. That's another thing you got to be careful on YouTube is you don't want to actually accidentally become the tool review guy. I do write tool reviews on my website, but I'm not doing video ones. Next thing you know, people are sending you crap. I'm trying to shim this. That should be enough for what we're doing here. Sorry, you're sitting here watching me fidget with shims. That one's not working. That one's perfect. There we go. You grab a straight edge. I don't know. So this is a 15-inch board. I'm a belt and suspenders kind of guy, so I'm thinking, let's lay them out. 1, 2. I think 3. 3 would do it. Oh yeah, dude. I mean, you're Barry. I think you're a smidge older than I am, but I mean, I look back at like Looney Tunes. You know, they were dropping pianos on people's heads. Elmer Fudd ran around with a, you know, he was hunting. Oh my God, $300. Ooh. That's my weakness is I'm useless outside of my shop. Oh, the Jeffersons. He said some wild stuff on that show. I would say at $80, definitely worth trying and making an opinion. You work in the field. At $300, I'm going to try to use this more. And if this doesn't fall apart in like a month, then I might start to slip. I don't know. What's the difference between the price between a biscuit joiner and the domino? Another $300. But the cordless domino is probably obscene. I bet that's like $1,500. I don't know. It's worth a shot. I would say 80 to 100 is worth trying. I know one YouTuber that I watch a lot, Nick Farrington. He uses joiners quite a bit, but he uses the Lamello. Like I think it's an Italian-made biscuit joiner. Oh, I'm drawing lines. Let's draw lines, and then we'll get back. If you're working out in the field, you must actually be like carpenter for hire, man. I'm just a stooge. The reason I got into woodworking was I bought this house 5 years ago and had to start fixing stuff, and I just kept getting tools and having fun. But I never try to do the same thing over and over. I get real bored with the same crap. My wife and my friend was like, you should make stuff and sell it. And I'm like, no, that sounds boring as hell. All right. That should be accurate enough. That's pretty in plain. Where do I put my pencil? Back there. Like I was saying, is if I'm not in my shop, I'm useless. I'm not useless. But one of my goals this summer is I'm gonna live stream completely redoing my spare bedroom, build a custom Murphy bed with a desk. And I'm going to have to get like a chest camera holder because I'm going to go up and down my stairs 1,000 times. I'm going to have to play Benny Hill music. Whoa, wait a minute. Time out. Time out. Harbor Freight has a domino. I might have to check this out. That is provocative. A finished carpenter. So would that be a finished carpenter is, so like I build a media wall, drywall bump out, custom built-in cabinets, LEDs. A finished carpenter, because I left it void for, one of those fake fireplaces. And I'm also going to make a fake fireplace mantle for it. A finished carpenter would be hired to make the fireplace mantle, right? And the sides and the mantle. Am I wrong? All right, let's see if these line up. I'm going to wait, let's mark these before I screw this up. I think Barry watched me screw this up the other day. I'm going to mark both sides. Barry, you ever do the Harbor Freight clamps, F-style clamps? Because I wouldn't mind, like I'm gluing these panels up. I'll spin you around. Ooh, I can't. The TV's back there. But I'm gluing up these panels. I don't have enough clamps. So I thought about, man, it would be nice to go to Harbor Freight and just buy like 100 F-style clamps for like $5. Have you had luck with their clamps? F-style. What happened here? This will work. Okay. Hey, if they work though, that's what's up. I live right next to a Lowe's. Like literally 5 minutes from my house. And their prices are a smidge higher than other places. They do price match, but I'm also not the guy that runs around haggling. And I found a Menards in the next town over that sells Bessie clamps at a pretty decent price. So I've been kind of piling those up as best as I can. Still flush? That's flush. All right. Let me mark this one and we'll see if this lines up and we'll glue it together. See how much battery I got. Halfway through. We still got plenty of battery. I also assume the biscuits are going to allow a little flexibility on this kind of movement, whereas a dowel, it is what it is. It's not going to wiggle. So let's get this crap out of the way. Cut some biscuits. I just realized because I thought I was going to say, hey, after I get these biscuits cut and installed, I was going to glue this panel up. But if I do that, I can't gut the biscuits in the other direction for the other panels. So, well, that's a bummer. I was hoping to at least get something glued in here. You know, if I attach this leg to this panel, I can't attach this panel, you know, cut the biscuits for this panel. Ooh, this is more complex than I thought. We're going to have to mark these R1, R1, L1, L1. Where did I throw my pencil? There it is. Yeah. Well, at least I caught it before I screwed it up. All right, that's L1. This is L1. Were you a big biscuit joiner, Barry? Big biscuit joiner guy, Barry? Yeah, let's cut the biscuits, install the biscuits, and maybe clamp it to see what it looks like. See if everything lines up. Spin this out a smidge. Grab my clamps.
All right. See how this goes. Spin it a little more this way. I will say, okay. Time out. One thing I don't like is see how fat that red line, like that's really fat compared to like a 0.5 millimeter thick lead. But maybe that also represents the amount of wiggle room the domino has. Or not domino, joiner, biscuit. I hit some dust to the face, but let's keep going. Put on glasses. Might have to move that clamp. Nope, we're good. Not the best angle. I barely have a grip on this thing. If this works, I'm going to feel like such a dummy for not using that thing. All right, not all biscuits are cut equal. They all kind of sit and they're different. That's okay. All right, let's cut the leg and see if it lines up right. R1. The big clamp in the way. Yeah, what was it? What's the name of the guy who did Spaceballs? Marv. Oh, thank you, sir. It's really bright. I try to keep it clean. Mel Brooks. He had the best quote about life. He's like, what did he say? Don't take life too seriously. You never get out of it. Something like that. Oh no, yeah. Yeah. Don't take anything too seriously. You never get out of here alive.
Something weird like that. He had a great quote about it. I'm botching that bad. It's kind of like one of those yogi Barbera kind of quotes. I think one time he said, my friends better show up to my funeral or I'm not going to show up to theirs. Yogi Berra. Yeah, dude. If I'm not mistaken, I think he has hundreds of those. But that's back when people, I mean, that was obviously a lot longer ago, but that's back when people talked to each other. Hell, even when I was a kid back in the 80s and 90s, there was no internet. There was none of this. My kids don't even go outside to play. It's crazy. Anyways, I'm getting off my high horse. I'm being an old grumpy dude. I don't want to be that guy. I'm still eating dust and splinters to the eyeballs. Yeah, man. That was the law of the land. Oh, lost a domino. I'm most curious to see if the top edges line up because that's the most important part here. So that's top, that's up, and that's up. Please work. What? Oh, yeah, dude. So that is flush there. See, that's going to be the top of the box. Check out this wiggle room. So I can actually wiggle it down. Not going to lie, I think I'm endorsing the biscuit joiner. For 2 years, I have naysayed. And now I regret it. Now the question is, are 2 of these going to fit around on each side of my front door? All right, let's do the other leg. And then we might Yeah, we got a second panel. Let's go ahead. Cut it. Get it just in there. All right, that's the right side. So I still have, I'm going to spin you around. Like almost every clamp I have is gluing that panel together. So this might be towards the end of tonight's work. What we're going to do is install the biscuits in this side. Oh, my kids, I don't even know if my kids know what baseball is. We're going to get biscuits in this leg. Well, yeah. Turn the legs, at least turn the right one, and we'll cut the biscuits for the second panel. I'm going to try to get 2 dry fit together tonight, and that'll be the end for tonight. And then tomorrow I can get that third panel out of the clamps. It'd be great, because then we can assemble the box. The fourth wall is going to be fake. All right, we got a plan. We have a game plan. I was always outside, athletic. Thought my kids would be playing basketball. Nope. Trying to find a good angle. These are Jorgensens I got from Lowe's, but they were like 16, 17 bucks a piece, I think. Well, actually, these are 3-footers. Love the Jorgensens. Love the rubber, reliable, and they're the lighter weight clamp pressure. But then I found the Bessie's at Menards for significantly less price. So I started buying those. But they have wood handles. Sometimes they slip. That's why I was asking Barry if the Harbor Freight ones work. It would just be nice to go and buy just a, like a whole gross of clamps. Then I got some Jorgensen pipe clamps up there.
All right. See, this is the problem with live streaming is nobody wants to watch you clean up. So I just keep going from task to task. And now I'm running out of horizontal surface to put stuff. But we're almost done. We're almost there for tonight. Okay, this is a little awkward. Dude, so confession time, I have no parallel clamps. Are they as awesome as they look? Because that's kind of part of the problem with the pipe clamps is if you're gluing big panels up, it always wants to cup. The parallel clamps are provocative. Compelling. I want one. That's my question. Are they worth the money? Let's test it real quick. Make sure we're getting the right depth. That biscuit's snug as hell. Let's get that out of here. There you go. I mean, I guess biscuits are like dowels. You know, they're not all created equal. That one's good. How much is a Jorgensen parallel clamp? I bet it's $115 if I had to guess. Okay, it's up. Okay. Where'd my right one go? And actually, if I get a second panel on here, I could glue it up tonight, but never mind. My clamps are on that one. Maybe that's how we'll start this tomorrow. All right. All right. One of you guys got a coin? Flip a coin. Heads or tails, right or left side? I'm going to grab the other panel. Somebody let me know if we're doing the right side or the left side. $40? Yeah, let's do right. It's a good call. Good call, Ricky. Dude, I never would have guessed $40. It would be nice to glue these two together tonight. All right. So let's try to, because orientation is key here, and I don't want the biscuits to intersect, so we might just try 2 biscuits in this one. In the voids where let's remove this panel. It's no longer needed. And now what was right is now left. So left is panel 2, right? Panel 2, that's up. That's up. Left 2, and that's up. Orientation's everything. Get the biscuits out of here. Grab our shions. See, and then, so the first side had 3 biscuits. On this side, I'm going to split the gaps and basically pray that 2 biscuits is enough. All right, we'll shim this out. Too thick. I bought a cheapo, can't say it's cheap, it was pretty expensive little makeup stand that was made in China for my daughter, and it racked and all the drawers came off the hinges within 2 days. So I had to sacrifice a bunch of my shims to fix the drawer slides. I thought about making a video of it, but then I'm like, yeah, it's kind of. All right, so let's split the gap here. And normally, if I have a project in mind, I usually do a lot of math designing. Spend a lot of time drawing it out. But every now and then, you just got to get in the shop and wing it. All right. I think those dowels, they might, or not dowels, they're not dowels, they're biscuits. They might intersect a little bit. But I don't think so. I think we're okay. We'll find out. Clamp these up. Flex tools. I recognize the name. I can't picture what it looks like though. I know it, like the brand name. Do you have Menards? I think Menards is all Midwest. Barry might have a Menards. No Home Depots. Interesting. And Menards has, no matter what you buy, an 11% mail-in rebate, and I never do it. I should, as much as I'm there. All right, 2 more cuts. No, 4 more. Okay, so I'm going to say the biscuit joiner is great for this. Would I use it for cabinet making? No. I'm sticking with my pocket holes, my Craigs. Oh. I don't know if you guys might have came in after the guy from when I started popped in, but he was from Alaska. I had to ask him what kind of wood they got up there. I mean, I know they got, pine. All right, I'm going to get my fingers out of the way for this. I missed my cabinet pencil. I'm pretty sure that slipped a lot. I think that slipped. I might have to redo that. Well, open it up a little bit. That's a bad angle. If this doesn't open up, I have to open. If this doesn't line up, I have to open up the top one. All right, let's see what the verdict is here. Let's test this one just to.
So that goes over here. This goes over here. It lines up with the top. Even though it slipped, it left me enough wiggle room to flush out the top. Let's try to attach the other one, see if we can get it to stand up by itself. Actually, let's go over here to the workbench and then we'll figure it out. I can't spin you around because of TV. But we can do this. This is... Give me a second, bringing all my stuff over. So we need 3 more biscuits. That one's snug. I'm not using that. It's kind of amazing how, I mean, dowels vary a little, you know, I'm not going to say a little bit, but some are defective, some are a little fatter. But right now, I'm going to say the biscuits have more variance per piece. Whereas the defects of a dowel might be like 1 out of 10. This seems 1 out of 20. This one seems to be 1 out of 10. All right, so that's the right side. And that's up. Am I losing my mind? What have I done here? Right one. I see what the problem is. Please line up. It should. It did earlier. This is going to be fun to glue up. I'm sure there will not be any cussing. I hope you guys are not easily offended by cussing, because there could be a little bit. Got a 2-inch block. There we go. Oh. I'm just going to use a couple pieces of wood here to try standing this mow up. All right. It's coming to life, boys. I'm going to grab some more shims. Just to... I mean, obviously these shims are not exactly... They're not exactly 2 inches, so it's not sitting perfectly flush, but this has given us an idea of what we're working with here, which is not bad. Hopefully I didn't just break all my biscuits in here. Yeah. Hell yeah. Let's see. So tomorrow, my goal is to be in here by noon. Glue up the other panel, attach it. Maybe we can figure out a way to glue all this together, or glue. Yeah, assemble all this. I don't know. We might have to go one panel at a time. But I'm not saying this is the most complicated little box ever, but what? I think I worked on it a couple hours Saturday, a couple hours Sunday, so 4. And I've got all the pieces cut for the second box. So that kind of slows things down. So 4. Only 5 hours into the project. Not bad. I move really slow in the shop, so not saying I'm proud of it, but we're scooting. Barry, thank you so much for showing up again. Appreciate you, brother. Ricky, nice to meet you. Black Lake that left earlier, thank you for showing up and watching. Yeah, you guys just watch me do this. Get up and do it yourself.